Vision and leadership, two elements for good governance nationally and internationally. We live in a changing world. We live under volatile elements and timings where strong decisions are required. Today, I have the pleasure to welcome Mr. George Karoullas, who is Vice President of the Democratic Rally Party of Cyprus, who is also a Vice President of the Committee of Defense of the Cyprus Parliament, who is elected as a Member of Parliament in the area of Famagusta. My name is Dr. Marios Eftimiopoulos. I'm the CEO of Strategy International, and this is Prime Analysis. Mr. Karoullas, thank you very much for joining us at Prime Analysis.
Well, it's my pleasure, Dr. Marios Eftimiopoulos, to be here with you today to discuss about the current and not only issues in our region, in our world. And also I have to wish you firstly and primarily every success and every creativity to your effort in strategy analysis, so as to produce ideas and actions for the peace and stability in our world.
Thank you very much for saying this. It's truly a pleasure, but today's discussion is not about us, it's about more yourself. So I wanted to start first of all a bit with your life experience. You know, Prime Analysis always starts with the importance that lays into the foundation of a person that decides, that wants to join the ways of life that he or she decides to do so. So I wanted to go a bit back in the years, and I wanted to discuss with you on how did you end up, first of all, being a member of parliament for Famagusta here in Cyprus?
Well, I will start with thank you very much for this question.
Most welcome.
And I will start from a general position. When you live in a place, in a space, let's say, with some character, and this place has to carry out some missions for the future of the people, and I mean the issue of Cyprus, you have every citizen has to be inspired by these affairs,
and therefore involved,
and primarily to be involved in these issues so as to contribute to the target of the society, and I mean for Cyprus, to work for peace, for reunification of Cyprus, for deliberation of our country, since half of the island of Cyprus is occupied since 1974.
And Famagusta is occupied.
And Famagusta also, the so-called gold city, the so-called queen city of Cyprus. Famagusta is still occupied by the Turkish army since 1974. So every citizen in this country has to put in the first category of his mind that the Cyprus issue has to be resolved, and everybody we have to contribute in this effort by, working to put everybody in the same line. So because we have to face our future primarily.
And I mean, to take it more practical, what I understand from what you just said is that you decided you want to go to the political affairs of things, to public service, if I call it like this, due to the fact that you probably lived the destruction, among others, also Famagusta. Cyprus being a beautiful island as it is, has been dealt through a lot of issues, a lot of problems. An unlawful invasion of Turkey into Cyprus that resulted to at least a temporary split of this percentage that is occupied now by Turkey, and therefore has given you the reason for more public involvement on public affairs. So when do you become a member of parliament elected for the first time for Famagusta?
Well, you're absolutely right for what you have said just now, how you interpreted my ideas before. Being in public, being in a public position is not just a matter of the vision that every politician, every person in this island and in the world, of course, has in his or her mind. We must have the base for it, and the base is to have education. The base is to be clear and look against.
And as I know, you're a pedagogue as well. Huh? You're a pedagogue. You're a professor as well.
Okay, my first degree is in pedagogy. I was a teacher, and after I studied geography in the U.S. So, starting from these ideas that I got from my studies, I wanted to implement these ideas, these issues in the place that is called Cyprus, the island that is called Cyprus.
You mentioned, I'm sorry I'm stopping, but you mentioned a very important word there, vision. What is George Karoullas' vision as a vice president of the Democratic Rally of Cyprus? For those that do not know, it's one of the leading parties, if not the leading party of Cyprus. And more so, you are also vice president of the Committee of Defense. So what is your personal vision and the things that we need to pay attention into?
Well, I will reply to you with some comprehensive idea. The liberation of Cyprus, reunification in a prosperous country, resilient to face the challenges that we have ahead.
Right.
That's my vision, to contribute
Very good.
to this effort in this island in the Eastern Mediterranean that is called Cyprus.
You know, it is our honor to have you with us because I know, and I know you personally as well, that you are a person of your words. In these words that you mentioned, resilience, resolution to the Cyprus issue, which is a European problem. What is your vision versus Europe or versus the Euro-Atlantic institutions to come by? What is the future? This is the immediate future, what you mentioned. What is the longer vision of Cyprus?
We have to start from the geographical position of Cyprus.
Of course.
It's in our island, Cyprus is in the crossroad of three continents, Asia, Europe, and Africa. Starting from this point, is in the division line of, according to my opinion, of two words. The so-called Western
world and
Western world, and the so-called theocracy word, or the word that is against the Euro-Atlantic values that you mentioned before. Europe and Euro-Atlantic values are two ideas for Cyprus that were based on.
Right.
Or if we are not completely based on the Euro-Atlantic value, we have to be based on these values. Mm-hmm. Peace, democracy, human rights,
these are all European values anyways.
European values.
Euro-Atlantic, it would fit perfectly.
Absolutely. But Cyprus, ways from Europe, expects that Europe should have this energetic, this strong position to help to the negotiation to solve the Cyprus issue.
Right.
That we want from Europe. As Russia-Ukraine war is considered as
an unlawful
the heading the top priority issue in Europe, the same issue is also in Cyprus since 1974.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Cyprus is part of the EU.
And Cyprus is a member state of the EU, and is a member state that follows the sanctions against Russia with all the cost for the economy and the society of Cyprus. And we wait from Europe to consider this strongly to help in this issue. words are not enough.
I know that you're very popular among people because you're very approachable to people. And you speak with ordinary people. The things that we said so far, how are they translated from not only your constituents, the ones who vote for you, but are also all citizens and residents of Cyprus? What do they tell you when you speak to them about such things?
Well, as a politician, as a people that comes from the society to work as a leader for these people, has to listen to what people say and filter and take decision and action for it. People say exactly this, that people in Cyprus wait that European Union would take actions, I don't mean military actions, of course, action, political action,
Diplomatic
actions, so as to put Turkey in a positive agenda to solve the Cyprus issue as an issue of the European Union Turkish dialogue that is going to start the following period. But what I would like to say from before, Cyprus is a hub in the Mediterranean, and people acknowledge this also at the same time in Cyprus. It's a hub that for security and defense, for the regional stability and peace, and also energy security. That
it's an energy corridor,
especially
now.
With
the agreement with the EU-funded program for electricity, of course.
So it's a reserve of energy for Europe. The hydrocarbons reserve that are being found this time in our region, and the European Union and Euro-Atlantic countries should acknowledge that Cyprus can be a place of stability,
security and
prosperity to help in the regional security.
As I know, you have written an article that was recently published in the newspapers exactly about that level of prosperity and security and Cyprus being a hub. How does this translate into your activities, not only as a member of parliament, but also as a vice president of that defense committee with regards to EU or Euro-Atlantic meetings or any meetings, closed or open? How do you translate this?
Well, first we have to explain to the people that listen to us or watch us that what does it mean? Firstly, what is a hub of security and defense? Cyprus, the last 10 years, has developed a defense policy and foreign policy that brought together Israel, Egypt, France, United States of America. United States stopped the embargo for selling weapons to Cyprus. We have treaties with these countries, either bilateral or trilateral treaties, that put Cyprus in the map for defense and security in the geopolitical subsystem of the Eastern Mediterranean. We have exercises among Cyprus and all these countries. Military exercises, naval exercises.
And an increased budget.
Increased budget for when the ex-governor of Anastasiadis administration started from 60 around there millions euro for defense budget, and in 2023 we had a budget of almost 200 million. That is a high level. It approaches the 2%.
So are we going towards standards? Towards EU and maybe Euro-Atlantic standards?
We expect from the new government that will follow this strategy so as to approach the EU, the NATO standard in accordance with the GDP of Cyprus. What I want to mention, moreover, we did many exercises for search and rescue in our region. This time that we have this crisis,
of course,
in Israel and Gaza and Palestine, these exercises is the time to be implemented. It's a time to
for search and rescue missions.
Search and rescue mission, and also Cyprus is known to everybody that it's a part of the Western world.
Yeah, of course.
And all in Cyprus say this clearly.
It's clear
that we are affiliated with the Western world.
And we're Europeans above all else.
As a member state, of course. And we have, according to the Constitution of 1960, we have three guarantors of the security of Cyprus. United Kingdom, Greece, and Turkey. Three countries that are the member state of NATO. So we have to be affiliated to this.
So that's interesting that you're saying. Yeah. So because of the guarantors, we should also become part of NATO. That's what you're saying? Or maybe that guarantee may need a guarantee if we are to be allies in the element of alliance?
I will answer. Well, the issue of security, if we take Cyprus as one country, besides the Eastern Mediterranean, the issue of security is vital in Cyprus. It's a part of the negotiation of the international geopolitical aspects of the Cyprus issue. So if we are affiliated to these countries, that we started this procedure,
right,
either with Israel, that is our geographic, with our neighbor with geographical proximity, France, UK, US, Italy. So with many states that they are also member of NATO,
Greece.
We have, of course, Greece. I don't forget Greece. Greece is the cornerstone of this effort. Right. Of course, we started this procedure, and this procedure should be continued. Right. If we manage,
but as an independent state, as an equal EU member state,
absolutely,
and as a potentially.
Absolutely.
A potential members to the Euro-Atlantic values and ethics and morals and operations.
If we manage to continue this procedure and put Cyprus officially in this security system of the Euro-Atlantic value, this could be a framework for the future security of Cyprus in a federal Cyprus, a unified federal Cyprus.
Right.
So we have to take this seriously to prove, and I mean this word, to prove that Cyprus is a reliable ally, is a reliable country to the Euro-Atlantic value. Is a state, it's a member state of EU that follows, but at the same time, as I said in the beginning, we expect from Europe to come and contribute, strongly contribute to the solution of the Cyprus problem, starting in this time that we have this geopolitical liquidity in our region, primarily Syria, Libya.
Liquidity and volatility, I presume, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So it can play a vital role, as I consider it, and also we believe that Cyprus not only plays a vital role, but due to its proximity to the geographical location that is called Southeast Europe and the Middle East, considering these changes taking place, Cyprus has options. Now, while you were talking, I thought to make a statement also in this case. Maybe that would help, and maybe I can get some comments from you. Since Ukraine aspires to become a member of EU and NATO, so can Cyprus aspire to become a NATO member. Is this the case? A full NATO member through the processes of membership preparations?
Well, Cyprus is a member state of the EU since 2004.
Yes.
the majority of the member states of the EU are member states of NATO, of the Euro-Atlantic values.
And because of their
countries.
security needs.
So to be a member state of NATO is a procedure. You cannot be a member state tomorrow. You have to follow a procedure. So Cyprus, for what it has been done the last 10 years, follows these standards with military exercises, with the interoperability that is being built with some countries, and with buying weapons from Western countries. So
the standards have changed also.
Absolutely.
Lately, in the latest years, we've seen the agreements between the United States and Cyprus. We have seen the agreements between France and Cyprus. We have seen the agreements with the UK. We have seen the agreements with Germany. So you're inheriting standards, but politically, because there's the fine line between the political and military. The military is clear, it follows the political. Where do we stand politically?
Politically, we are member state of the EU firstly and primarily, and also we are affiliated, we are a member state of the Western world.
Right.
And we are having all these treaties, all these affiliations with the countries that you mentioned also before. But I would like to say something more about this. I said in the beginning that Cyprus is the division line between the Western world and the theocracy and the people and the countries that are against the Western world. This geopolitical statement should be, I would say, Cyprus should take advantage of it. What I mean? Turkey,
for its security apparatus.
Absolutely. Turkey is a member state of NATO. Nobody doubts this. NATO is based on Turkey. It's the biggest country maybe in the NATO. So, but we have to consider something else also regarding Turkey.
One of the biggest, not the biggest.
One of the biggest. So what I would like to say, Turkey at the same time uses the two words, the Western, Russia, and
he plays
the theocracy,
a multiple level
policy and so on. But I would like to mention one thing, practical. A fact. Turkey built this nuclear station in IQ, Turkey, with $20 billion funded from Rosatom, the bank, the Russian bank, built and operated with Russian standards, not with European or the International Atomic Organization standards. So we have Russia to be in the Mediterranean, that it was their target since many 100 years. So Cyprus can act as the defense line.
The first line of defense.
Yes, the first line of defense.
That's a good title for an article.
Yeah.
Cyprus, the first line of defense.
Absolutely, the first line of defense to this effort that we face now in the world. Also, these threats, Turkey and the terrorism or many other things deriving from this opposite word, are stated clearly in the strategic compass. The statement of the European Union regarding defense and security.
But the two, EU and NATO, have a parallel road. They have also relations. They have also agreements. So everything goes in parallel with it. And I presume the way that you are anticipating, the way that you're describing, the way that you're analyzing the events, it's a one-way street, because NATO may be a security provider. Cyprus may need it, but it is also the opportunity, considering the geostrategic changes taking place around us. And you called this in your article a new security architecture. And it's very interesting, because a lot of people that came also at Prime Analysis, they spoke about the security architecture, but never a political person who's elected who's a member of parliament, who's a member in the wider political life of Cyprus. And that makes it even more interesting. You're talking about security architecture. Can therefore Cyprus find its security and defense identity within the framework of NATO, within the framework of the EU, as part of that new security architecture?
Cyprus must be a part, a member state of this architecture.
Right.
It's a need, and I'm clear about it. And Cyprus' foreign affairs policy is being followed the last 10 years by the defense policy.
Right.
So, since we have all these relations that you mentioned before, all the bilateral and trilateral agreements with all these countries, and in the framework of EU, and also we participate as Republic of Cyprus in the interparliamentary discussions, and also in NATO. The last one was before 1 year in Barcelona.
Yes, because
in
these
Spain.
are interparliamentary ones.
Yes.
So it's a pure discussion of needs and requests, and probably changes.
As a security provider, as you very correctly you mentioned before, Cyprus should be close to the Euro-Atlantic values, close to NATO countries. It's our security future in this island with so many security problems for so many years. So we have to find our way.
Is this also your vision? Also, do you share this vision with a yes or no?
Yes. And I will explain to you.
Yes.
Speaking for deliberation, reunification of Cyprus, and also having in mind that the security issue is one of the even the most important aspect of the solution of the Cyprus problem, NATO and EU could be security providers in this effort. So we have to be close. We have to be.
But we also have to be adamant with regards to strategic compass, our strategic compass towards NATO.
Signed as a state. We signed this compass, this strategic compass.
No, I didn't mean the EU level, but also the NATO level compass, the national strategic compass.
One of the yes, you are absolutely right. Our national strategic compass should be close to NATO. Should work to bring Cyprus close to the Euro-Atlantic countries, close to the Western world, mostly as a hub.
Very interesting.
As a hub, Cyprus, not only for naval exercises, not only for
being a security provider, but also being the first defense line.
The first
you said
defense
it very
line
clearly
of the Western world.
Yeah, it was very clear what you made, what your statement was.
This strategic position that we learn in the primary school for Cyprus should be leveled as a primary issue for our foreign policy, for our security policy, for one reason. It's our future. Right. We don't want to make Cyprus a military base. I don't mean this.
Right.
But we have to use productively Cyprus.
That's why I asked you about the identity.
As a center.
So you want to specialize within the identity framework of your Euro-Atlantic alliance.
Yes.
It is clear. It is clear. Can I say the following? So up until now, we spoke about the personality. You got elected. You went into the framework of defense, and definitely also some foreign policy affairs. You cannot skip one without the other. But you mentioned your vision. You mentioned the strategic goal of the compass. Let's go a bit on analysis. Let's analyze a bit the world, if we can, in a short period of time. As you said, Cyprus lives among a cross world of civilizations. And it lives among a world where things are changing fast. You also mentioned volatility. You also mentioned insecurity. What are the relations of Cyprus? A, with Israel. B, with the Arab world.
Well, I remember before, I would say a fact, for
Yeah, of
maybe
course.
20, 25 years, the authorities of Cyprus arrested an Israeli person in Cyprus and accused him for spy.
Mhm.
Now, Israel and Cyprus are strategic partners for many reasons. I mentioned before the geographical proximity. Israel is closer to Cyprus, not geographical only, but
In the levels of security.
in the level of security, level of civilization, starting.
But also religious affairs. I mean, you have the Holy
Okay,
Lands.
and
You have
close to religious, of course.
Cyprus being one of the most important
Yes.
monasteries and churches
Yes, yes, yes.
away from Jerusalem.
And Israel is a country that acknowledges Cyprus as its strategic depth. Israel is surrounded by the Arab world, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, and has the Palestinians, the Gaza Strip.
And it has very good relations also with
and
the
many
Palestinian
problems.
Authority.
So
Yeah, of course.
Cyprus is a country that could help Israel in its the state of Israel in its effort to compensate this to face this situation around it. Arab world before many years also maybe 30, 40, I was a little child, I don't but I read about it. Cyprus was affiliated with the Arab world and excluded Israel from any relation because Cyprus was a member of some other groups of worlds that they didn't want to be affiliated or either with the Western, either with the Eastern world.
Right.
So our policy, besides that the three guarantors were a member of NATO, we follow a different strategy. And we had many strong relations, either with
But
Libya.
we still have. I mean,
no, not so much.
not so much.
Either with
Why do you think that? Why do you think that?
either with Libya, either with Egypt, the previous year, either with the Palestinians, with Yasser Arafat, either with Lebanon. But now, the only country from this that I mentioned before that we're having strong relation is Egypt.
Right.
Because Egypt is close to the Western world after
But it's also a key to the Arab world.
Absolutely. It's
The translation,
It's
if
a
you
head
want.
country for the Arab world, and also.
But we also have good relations with the Gulf countries, which are may not be
With
the
the
Middle East, because
UAE
we refer to the Arabs, but we don't mean only the Middle Eastern.
I would
ones.
come to
Yes,
this.
yes.
With the UAE, recently we have developed strong relation with Saudi Arabia. We have also a military agreement with the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and some aircraft from UAE came in Cyprus before 2 years, I don't remember exactly, and did exercises with the Air Force
With
of
the
Cyprus,
Cyprus.
with the National Guard of
It
Cyprus.
was joint exercises,
Joint,
multinational
absolutely,
exercises.
yes. So, and also mention the military exercise Medusa that is
Yeah, the
is
Medusa.
being is taking place in the Eastern Mediterranean with Greece, UAE.
Yeah, it's a flagship of exercises.
Many
yes,
countries.
yes, yes.
Yes. So we have relations stronger with selected countries.
Right. So
Not like-
you don't see
we-
it
we-
collectively, you see it individually,
Yeah,
bilaterally,
yeah, with the countries that
from the
Cyprus-
Arab world.
Yes, with the Arab world, of course, Cyprus selectively with countries that has interest to take something and give something. I mean, to have something mutual.
Right.
But mostly with Israel, we buy weapons from Israel, hundreds of millions weapons from Israel. We are very big military exercises are taking place in Cyprus. We have common exercises in Israel with some parts of our army. and we have exchanges
Do you think
personnel.
do you think that this, because the Cyprus government, the current one, the new one, has been quite clear on what happened to Israel versus Hamas, the terrorist acts, and it was only normal that, they take the side of Israel in this case, but they were very adamant and very clear with Israel. Do you think that that will mean an increased security architecture in this new framework of architecture, at least bilateral countries?
You are absolutely right for what you said now. My party, Democratic Rally, last Thursday, before 1 week, proposed a resolution for the crisis in Israel in favor of Israel, not because just favor, that because for what happened there, it is terrorism.
Yeah, it is clear.
And we are a country that
and we condemn it too.
We stand to Israel, clearly. Mm-hmm. We don't have any other option. There is no other justification to be against Israel. Israel is our ally.
Yes.
And we say this clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So Israel could be a part with the bilateral relation we have with Israel and also with Greece, or the 3+1 with the United States.
Mm-hmm.
All this should be a part of this new architecture of defense and security in the subsystem of the Eastern Mediterranean, and not only.
You made a statement in one of your public social media information. And I know you're very sensitive in the humanitarian element because your families that were displaced and had become internal migrants basically in the unlawful attack of Turkey, you mentioned at some point that we need to be cautious because that humanitarian problem of Gaza towards Egypt, if it falls apart, it may also have problems with regards to the occupied areas and territories. Could you please give me your point?
I will answer. When I was 2 years old, I was living in the now occupied territory by the Turkish army, Cyprus. I'm coming from, my ancestry comes from 2 small villages close to Famagusta, the city of Famagusta, Stili and Gaiduras. I was living in Stili, and when I was 2 years, I was displaced violently by the Turkish army and moved to the south part of Cyprus, to the free side of Cyprus. I got displaced to my country, and now what happens, and we can understand what does a refugee means. What does it mean not to have something to eat, not to have a place to stay, to be protected? We live this, and we understand what does it mean, occupation. We understand what does it mean to look for a new future when you have lost everything.
Start over, yes.
What happens now in Palestine, in the Gaza Strip, in Israel? My caution, my fear is Turkey. Turkey maybe could instrumentalize these people, as Turkey does with the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, that have been sent to Cyprus by the ceasefire line, to use these people and bring them in the occupied territory of Cyprus to change mostly the demographic character of Cyprus.
Yeah, because he's playing the religious. You mentioned the theocratic. Because religiously, you're not.
To use them as an instrument to change the demographic stability of Cyprus.
So is this also a theocratic element seen by Erdogan theocratically? But that changes a lot of that raises a lot of questions with regards to how do we see religions. I mean, I know the Abrahamic Accord, for example, between the United Arab Emirates and the UAE and Bahrain has given rise to a new momentum. And this momentum has been probably attempted to be destroyed also The moment that Hamas, with the support of Iran and others, have tried to do this, which on the back shows also Turkey, because what you're mentioning now also includes Turkey into this equation. Somehow, somewhere, religiously or fanatically, you're talking about extremism probably, and your fear is not that they're not going to really help the humanitarian relief, but they're likely to bring here people that will be extremized, if you want, in this respect.
The humanitarian relief is a smoke to cover the organized effort to change.
What they did with Libya, that they moved some Syrian fighters into
and
Libya, and from Libya to Azerbaijan.
You mentioned religion. I will say one thing. If somebody visits now the occupied territory of Cyprus, should see very clearly that the Orthodox character Cyprus, occupied Cyprus,
has changed.
Is field now, has changed, is widespread with mosque, with Muslim temples.
Having a temple is not a bad thing, but destroying a church on behalf of another thing, maybe, or a synagogue in that matter, may be an issue of which is
what I said before.
Bad.
Change the demographic character of Cyprus, imposing these Muslim temples in Cyprus with the same architecture that is seen in Skopje. Or in other, or in some part of Serbia, with the same character, with the same architecture.
Right.
So this is an organized effort to change.
Oh, they've been doing that.
The character
before.
of Cyprus.
They have been doing that also before they had the issue with the Gülen movement. They were building sites like that, Turkish controlled. Yes, it has nothing to do with the wider perceptions.
The cultural landscape,
religious freedoms and the right of those freedoms. It's politically. It's a political weapon that he politicized. Yes.
The cultural landscape, speaking about the occupied Cyprus, is the footprint of the strategic policy of Turkey. So this footprint, I would say indifferent. We have to create our strong footprint in the region as a hub, as the first defense line, so as to have security providers in Cyprus. We have to give.
But we have to make a clear statement here that the idea is that religion should be taken away from the political side of things. All religions preach similar or the same thing with regards to freedoms and actions and so on and so forth, and we should respect each other. But what Turkey does with regards to the politicization, I think you have a right thing to say with regards to how it can weaponize the possibility of humanitarianism being converted to someone who will use this against Cyprus through the occupied lands, and will ultimately bring extremism on the table.
Of course, we respect the religion of everybody. Nobody can doubt it. Cyprus, it was. If you see in Cyprus, you can see
it's multi-religious and
it's a multi-religious. The multi-cultural landscape is easily seen in the landscape. And I don't mean that we have to exclude Turkish Cypriot Ottomans from this equation. But we don't, as you very correctly mentioned, we don't have to use these people as an instrument with the smoke of the humanitarian aid to create problems to somebody else.
Right. But as we know, also Palestinians have also Christians. There's a mixture of religion also. I mean, the whole land of Israel and what is known as Palestine, the geographical location, includes also always. It has included, I think, in the history, a lot of religions, small or big. It's also there. So I'm pretty sure because Cyprus does a very fine work with regards to the religious dialogue and to the premise of the religious dialogue. But again, we should not weaponize people, especially when they are located on their worst case scenario that they can never live, and that is displacement because of war or reactions that ultimately lead to war and conflict. Last but not least, a last question. Your political vision within the state of Cyprus. These wars, this volatility create financial issues, questions. Do you think that Cyprus will be able to overcome a global recession that is built in? Considering not only the wars, but also the extended war-like situation between the war situation between Russia and Ukraine. Because that has changed always, like the logistics, the finance and everything, and life has become more costly. Do you think that Cyprus will be able to cope that wave of financial instability that is maybe already created, or will it give rise to opportunity?
All these crises, the sequent crisis that we have, Russia, Ukraine, now Israel, or any other crisis in the world, impacts Cyprus. Cyprus receives a very strong impact either from the sanctions or either from the logistics, either from the cost, for the high cost of life and energy cost. Cyprus is a small economy and could be resilient if we manage with the aid, and I mean this, if we manage with the contribution of the European Union and the US to extract hydrocarbons in terms of security.
Right.
Cyprus could be more resilient.
So you think that energy resilience...
In terms of energy and security.
So energy exporter, and at the same time...
And security
what about an economy that creates its own R&D and innovation, export?
Cyprus started very... it's writing very good records for research and development, but we have to do more. We have to raise the part of GDP that we use for research and development. The universities are doing an excellent work about it, but we have to do more. There is no end for this. R&D is the future.
Right. With R&D being said, and to thank you very much for the time that you have spent at Prime Analysis, I would like to thank you, Mr. George Karoullas. The pleasure was all mine to have you here and to have spent a bit of time with you, seeing and elaborating on the things that you are working upon on a daily basis. And I thank you very much for the time that you have contributed coming with us.
The pleasure is mine to exchange these ideas with you. I really enjoyed talking with you and answering this question and exchanging ideas. And I'm looking forward to continue our cooperation. And I'm always open to any other discussion or any other issue that you want me to contribute to your efforts.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you
very much.
Thank you all for watching another web series of Prime Analysis. Please subscribe, like, follow, and share through our YouTube channel of Strategy International. My name is Dr. Marios Eftimiopoulos, and I'm the CEO of Strategy International. And this was Prime Analysis. And remember, impact makes a difference.